Hello and welcome to our last episode of Growing Organically for Wholesale Markets. Today we will talk about lessons learned from this year and how to prepare yourself for next. We're going to start off today's episode by joining Deana Haynes. We last saw Deana grading her acorn squash, and we briefly talked about how her delicatas were impacted by downy mildew. Deana's going to talk a little bit about the lessons learned with the downy mildew in regards to her spaghetti and delicata squash.
This is where the delicatas got hit really hard with the mildew. These should have still had another 20 days on them, and they're done. And it didn't affect all of the delicata to this point. This is the worst area. Some of them you can't hardly tell they've got it at all. What I would recommend to anybody that's doing squash that I didn't do was get in there, which I babied the acorns. I was in there all the time. I didn't spend enough time with the spaghetti. If I would have spent more time in there, I would have caught it earlier. I would just walk by them and look at them. But you really kind of got to get in there, move your leaves around, and check on everything. And that was where I messed up, because it was in there, and when I was walking by, I didn't see it. Because they looked so bushy and healthy, I just kind of ignored them. And that really came around and got me. And the delicata, they kind of have a whitish tint to the leaf anyway. And so you would have to look harder to see it on those. But these things were so healthy, I would have never thought anything could bring them down. But it did.
We saw in a previous episode with Roger and organic spraying that it's all about prevention. Unfortunately, when Deana spotted the mildew, it was too late. We recommend maybe having your rows farther apart. For any of those experienced growers out there, feel free to comment on this video about what you did to handle your mildew. Next, we're going to hear from Deana about her rows and changing the layout for next year.
So what I found with trying to irrigate 600-foot length of field, it was just, it was too much. So I come in here with this and then put a T in and run the last, there's 12 rows that start on the end. And then there's 4 more rows that don't go the whole way across. So I run this line down there just for those 4 rows to do separately. They were running off the last line, and it was just too much when I was trying to feed them. I didn't want to waste the plant food, so put that in. And next year, like I said, we'll have a road that goes right through the center. And another thing I found with the long rows is when it comes time to harvest, if you're walking out like I'm doing, you got to go 300 feet in either direction. You don't want to do that. It's just too much work. So don't make your rows too long.
When you're thinking about your layout for next year, it's also good to think about what crops you're going to rotate where. In the previous episodes, we've talked about how crop rotation is great for managing pests, disease, and weeds, and cover crops fit right into that cycle. We have a previous episode about cover crops in an online blog. So if you're not sure which cover crops are best for your region or what your needs are, check that out. We're going to hear from Roger Garrett, who had one field utilizing cover crops and another that didn't, to talk about some of the lessons learned.
Here's some benefits of actually cover cropping. You know, we did some turnips over here in this part of this field, and the ground is so much easier to work because the ground is so loose, versus over here where the other part of the field where we didn't plant anything, it's just so compacted that we're having to fit with it. Say if you cover crop, you ain't gonna have as much labor in. Like where we didn't cover crop, you're gonna have a lot more plowing to do.
In preparation for next year, don't forget to remove your plastic and work to rebuild your soil. We're going to talk with Jason from a previous episode about soil building in regards to the importance of building your soil nutrition and organic matter.
If you care about your farm and you care about your farm's success in the long run, building a soil organic matter and soil nutrition is the most important, crucial thing to do for the health of your operation. And it shouldn't just be a one-year plan. It's not getting your soil test back and figuring, I'm doing my amendments and then I'm done with it. That's not how this works. This is a 5 to 10 year plan where you are investing in something that's going to pay off in the long run.
Well, that's everything for this series. Hope you enjoyed it. Check out our future series all about reducing risk for farmers. To make sure you get notifications of when those videos are posted, hit subscribe on our YouTube channel page. Thanks so much for watching, and happy growing, everybody.